So I'm Grasas, and today I'm going to be talking about Castalia usage. So everyone should already know what Castalias is, but if you didn't know, it's basically this limited resource, very limited, by the way, to let you choose both skills left and right. And Castalias, there's many usages. Most of my Castalia is actually used to correct my mistakes, and that's what I want to talk about. Some of the mistakes I made and why I made them. So hopefully I can help some people to not make those mistakes that I did. So I'm going to talk about my mistakes first, and I'm going to make a summary of all the points I already made. So if you want to just see the summary, just skip to the end. Some of the mistakes I made, one is being greedy, right? This Castalia I didn't have to use. I just wanted to use because this let me clear the weapon boss like a few days earlier than I could because of the decreased attack. And I don't even know if this was necessary, but I just took it because, the boss seemed a little bit stronger, and I took it, and the boss actually seemed to not do as much damage. Well, duh. But like, I didn't need to use this, and because this is a limited resource, I should have just waited a few days to just have enough stats to like take it, right? Like even if I took a few days on the weapon trial boss, it wasn't like end of the world or anything. That's just me being greedy. Then there's Magnus. This one is just me being a stupid dumbass, right? Like I took hardening because I was like, oh, I don't really like strike back, and then I realized that this strike back is really good, and I realized this because I read a guide on Magnus because I wanted to build him actually, and then I was like, okay, so what do I do? This skill is I just thought this was interesting, and it's fine, right? Like I don't think this is a bad Castalia. This one is definitely a bad Castalia because I took a bad skill and I had to correct my mistake. And then there's like this mistake on Outlaw Guard is because I didn't think I would ever use Outlaw Guard because he's a common unit, but I ended up using him in Weapon Trial 2 and 3. So I ended up having to Castalia Rupture Armor for a little bit of extra damage, right? Technically, this is also a greedy Castalia, but also this is like a Castalia that I used because I didn't think I would use him, so I just ignored all his other skills. I just was like, okay, he has a kick, or he has a knockback combo, that's it. I'm just going to take this. He's just going to be a knockbacker. He wasn't. He was a damage dealer, and I had to like respec him. So that was just a mistake. You should just always read what the character does. And there's like a few more mistakes. Okay, like Beryl. Beryl is I took her casual search here, which is not as consistent as Firewall. This is, well, who knew that a skill that like is like random and what you get is not going to be consistent, duh. But like it's just, I thought this was interesting, but it ended up not being good, and Firewall just like having like a lot more usage. This one is like, it is what it is. I thought this was a fun skill, so I took it. I should have followed the guide, but sometimes you just have to try something, right? Like it's not an egregious mistake like the rest, but like I think this is still like a mistake nonetheless. So, and then good choices: Standard, Gloria, rank 3; Cole, rank 7; Simona, rank 3; Edda, rank 3. These are all good skills where you want both of them. And finally, okay, Edda, Iggy is another one where I was greedy because I wanted powerful throw and mountain tribe so I can use him before 55 in the active attacker, right? Like I was greedy because if I didn't have this, I probably wouldn't use him until I got level 55 for behemoth hunting. So yeah, if you can wait, that's fine. I think this is fine because I use Iggy quite a lot now, and I think that's like not that bad. Okay, so there was one more character I want to show you, Samantha. This is like a questionable Castalia, but I actually don't regret it. It's taking Divine Wrath. Divine Wrath, it's not that useful in PvE because often like the people that you really want to disable active skills on, you can't. So like the bosses or what, you can't really disable their active attacks. But in PvP, if you can just like, if they don't have any cleanse, or if you just get onto their healer and you just like stop their active skills, they just can't heal, and or like they can't use their active heals, and the passive heal is usually not as big. So this is really good in PvP. I took it for PvP and it worked in PvP. So not exactly a bad Castalia for myself. And yeah, that's basically my Castalia usage and some of the worst places that I use a Castalia on. The summary is, first of all, read the character. Like, read their skills. Don't be hasty. Don't be like, okay, I'm never gonna use this character. I'm just gonna take a skill on their skill tree, or just like, okay, I unlocked like 3 tiers of skills or 5 tiers of skills, and now I'm just gonna like do those without looking at anything like above that. That's just a stupid idea. I don't even know why I did that. Well, I was just being stupid, so it is what it is, right? Like, you can always read all the synergies a character have. Like, for example, Nungle has 2 routes. She can go like the full sniping route with like her this skill, which like is a massive attack, or you can go the basic attack route where you just basic attack people for a lot of damage, right? So I basically chose basic. I wanted to do basic attack early, but I like did some. Yeah, it's just read their abilities, think about what you want to use them for, and basically that's what you want to do, right? Just read. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is read a guide, find a guide, right? I think anyone on YouTube watching this video right now wouldn't be against finding a guide, because if you didn't want to read a guide or whatever, you wouldn't be even on YouTube looking for sort of Convallaria content, right? It takes like 5 minutes or like even less. Like Celia on Journey has great guides. Timaeus has a spreadsheet where he like highlights like the skills that you want to take, right? Both these guys have like pretty good guides. And I want to say something is, don't like still think about it yourself. Like, don't just follow the guides one to one and just be like, okay, I don't care, right? Read what the guide suggests and then read the other skill and be like, okay, why do I want the guide? For example, like the guide says take rupture armor, and yes, I think rupture armor is actually the better skill here, but I probably would have taken barricade fight beforehand, because I was like, okay, this is like a special for the character, right? But you're not actually using Edda for damage that much, so the damage is just not as big, right? But if you think barricade fight is fun, which leads into my third point, is if you think this ability is fun and you just want it, like totally take this ability instead of rupture armor, or even take both, because why not? You have Castalia, right? Castalia is a resource to be used. Not using Castalia isn't exactly like something to be proud of, right? Obviously, you don't want to use too many of them, so you don't have a Castalia for like characters in the future. But totally use Castalia on just skills you want, instead of making mistakes like I did and using Castalias on skills that is essential, but you took the other one that is just something that you would swap out immediately. So yeah, let's just re-summarize really fast. 1, read the abilities. 2, find a guide. And 3, think about it yourself and choose the ability you want. And yeah, that's it. I hope you don't make mistakes like I did, or I hope like if you like put Castalia, you're proud of the Castalia, or you're like you think the Castalia is worth it and not just to correct a mistake. If you like this content, please subscribe. This is it. Thank you for watching. And if you didn't like the content, make suggestions actually, and hopefully I'll make better content in the future. Thank you all for very much for watching, and I'm out.